is actively cracking down on Khalistani members and their activities within the borders to safeguard national security. And this is how it's rattling the separatist elements who are sitting on foreign soil and evading law. Khalistani elements are now getting desperate day by day and targeting not just Hindus, Hindu Canadians, Indians, and of course members of the Sikh community who are living in Canada, and they are doing it so more aggressively. The Laxmi Narayan temple in Canada's Surrey has now become a flashpoint. The Hindu community have alleged that Khalistani supporters or K supporters, these goons, are harassing devotees. Let's now break this down for you. What did the K group protest outside the Laxmi Narayan temple in Surrey? First up, devotees actually turned around and said when they came to try and disrupt proceedings and celebrations, there will be counter protests. So the counter protests happened outside the temple. Then the groups actually protesting against harassment by K goons and K elements. And after facing embarrassment, this entire mob was forced to leave site because those who were being harassed so far decided to now finally turn around and stand up to the harassers. Temple officials said that this mob had used to come there and protest regularly and harass devotees, but they said enough is enough, we're going to fight back or we're going to protest back. The official has also come back and said that there is a fear though of lives and of being threatened by these K elements continuously. Furthermore, they have added that temples are being frequently targeted by these groups who are getting bolder and bolder and perhaps flirting with this entire freedom of speech and expression which Canada says it preserves and would love to uphold. There's no action that's been taken by the Canadian authorities despite complaints. That's what officials from the temple are saying. And that's not all. It doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. These K elements are also peddling fake news that Bharat, in order to please their masters sitting in Pakistan. Now, this is one of the examples. Take an example, and here's a recent example for the same. India's ambassador to the United States, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, was honored during his visit to a Gurudwara in Long Island in New York. Taranjit Sandhu also took part in Guru Parab celebrations there and echoed Guru Nanak's everlasting message of togetherness, unity and equality. But K elements fabricated news and circulated a fake video claiming that he was actually being heckled, a charge outrightly rejected. Now here's what intel sources are revealing to CNN News 18. Our group editor security getting us these details. Now these are the pictures. You can see how he was felicitated, celebrated, and they all took and celebrated the first Guru of Sikhi, Guru Nanak Dev. Now diplomats are being respected across all communities in the United Kingdom, US or Canada. That's what they've said. This outfit that's been declared a terrorist outfit with its leader deemed a terrorist in Bharat is actually misleading people via social media, and that is all for getting money from their akas in Pakistan. $10,000 is the money that's paid and that they claim every time they do some disruptive activity or make these false claims. K elements are using Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu's video to try and mislead youth. Taranjit Sandhu was actually honored by local Sikh community in Long Island. That's the truth, and he's actually the ambassador himself has tweeted this out. This entire K mob has been harassing Indians at community events and at temples. A major concern for Bharat is that the cops remain mute spectators, be it in Canada, be it in the US or in the UK. Bharat will soon raise this issue with their foreign counterparts is something that we are given to understand. Safety and security of Bharatiya diplomats is of utmost priority. This has been underlined. This mob getting desperate, fakery now being used to malign Bharat. This has also been rejected. Let's discuss this.
Hello, Moto.
Joining us now, Sukhi Chahal, founder and CEO, editor-in-chief, The Khalsa Today, Sushant Sareen, senior fellow of ORF, Satish Goel, president of the Laxmi Narayan temple in Surrey. Let's go straight across to them. Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Satish ji, I first want to ask you, Satish ji, what happened with the Laxmi Narayan temple in Surrey?
So it right now is 6 o'clock in the morning in Canada right now. It happened yesterday about, actually a couple of days ago, they put a video because there is a life certificate camp there. we do every year through the Council General of India. So it means, by the life certificate means, like the people have a pension in India. So they have a certificate to their pension authority to get their pension there in India. So every year we arrange camp in temple. So it was done, two camps were done. One was 3rd of November, but nothing happened that day. And then, we have a camp yesterday. And probably what happened, they have a couple of camps in different Gurdwara, like Abbotsford Gurdwara
Right.
and Ross Street in Vancouver. So these Khalistani went there, they are making a slogan against Indian government and India. And so then they announced that, they are coming to Laxmi temple in Surrey, right? So when the people, the video was, go everywhere.
Right.
So then, the people of in Hindu community, and they get together, and when they came about 10 o'clock, in about 10:30 in the morning,
Right.
a lot of police was there actually. A lot of police was there too. And then, they start, slogan against, Indian government and, but, they're saying with the mic and everything. And on the Hindu temple side, premises side,
Right.
so we have, there are 200 people there. There are 25, 25. And these side were 200. So two police was sitting in the middle and the car was passing and everything. So what happened, and, then just end up about 2 o'clock. But both sides, we had 200 people, 125 people, but they only saying, we are not against Hindu temple or something like, but we are against the Indian government, who has assassination like
No, but Satish ji, if they are against the Indian government, they should be protesting outside the consulate. Why are they trying to unnecessarily trouble Hindu Canadians?
100%. That's what our issue was. Right? That's why our people get together. If you have problem, go to the Council General of India, not in the front of the temple. And you're hurting the Hindu community sentimental. So that's why people get together. And I think this is happening first time in Canada. Especially in Surrey, I think so. Never happened before like that. So that's what happened that day.
So, but you're saying it's the first time they have protested at the temple in Surrey, or it's the first time that Hindu Canadians have stepped up against and come out against these K elements?
I know. Okay, first time. Okay, it's happened before too. Target was happening 2-3 months ago, and somebody jumped the wall and they put poster there, like some poster. Then after that, nothing happened. But this is the first time. They put this kind of thing in front of the temple. So even, and this is the first time happening against the temple, and people are wake up and they are opposing these guys.
Right. Dev Deepavali ki aapko shubhkamnaएं on Kartik Purnima and Sukhi Chahal Guru Parab ki aapko shubhkamnaएं. Thank you very much for joining us now.
Aapko bhi shubhkamnaएं. Thank you.
Sir, Satish ji, please stay with us. I'll come back to you, sir. Just I request you to stay on with us for another 5 minutes. We have Mr. Sukhi Chahal, founder and CEO and editor-in-chief of the Khalsa today, and Sushant Sareen ji also. Just quickly getting a comment from them before I come back to you, ji. Sukhi Chahal, this is now they're trying to even heckle Ambassador Taranjit Sandhu. So they are getting bolder and bolder on a day, and that too with fabricated news. On a day when he's been felicitated, welcomed at Long Island, they try and push out propaganda that he's being heckled.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have seen it. Before I answer that one, actually, so let me come back to the Canadian side. Actually, so as Mr. Satish Goel said, it did not happen only first time. It happening again and again. The similar incident by the same people. It has happened in the city called Abbotsford, which is only 10 or 15 miles away from the Surrey. And not at that time, they same Gunda element. I don't call them like activists or anything actually. So they all these Gunda dals, they did the same kind of nonsense inside the Khalsa Diwan Society Gurdwara in Abbotsford. Over there, there was a council by the council, local council general. There was a similar camp was being hosted inside the Gurdwara on the request of the management committee, so that many of our old people, especially the retired people, those who can come and get their documents signed, actually, especially the life certificate, and they disrespect one of the retired army officer who was the Gursikh guy. Not only they abuse him, they abuse his son, they abuse his daughter-in-law in front of their small child, actually. So this is the nonsense, actually, because this is what I am crying, screaming. We have to step up. The people from the Sikh community they have to step up and they have to stop this nonsense. Today they are going to Gurdwara. Tomorrow, now they are doing in the Mandir. They're going to come back to the Gurdwara. This nonsense has to be stopped. These people has to be identified and they has to be. And I'm very sure actually Sushant actually here and he will agree to me, and the strict action needs to be taken against these people and they needs to be blacklisted. It doesn't matter who they are actually.
But the blacklisting, if these are Canadian citizens or if these are American citizens, then Bharat cannot blacklist them, Mr. Sukhi Chahal. How does Bharat blacklist American and Canadian citizens?
Sir, they can. They have done in past. But the thing is, because whatever the message, because when you don't have a solid policy, clear-cut policy, actually, so they take advantage of that. These people, they take the advantage of the situation. These people, many of these people, those who are protesting in all these Khalistani propaganda and also referendum, and I know many of these people, they are getting the visa and getting the vacation, doing the vacation in Punjab. Who the hell giving them the visa? Why they are getting the OCI card? And their OCI card needs to be cancelled. Actually, the message should be not the whole society, not the whole Canadian society should suffer. These people and people, those who support them directly or indirectly, they needs to be forever. They should be blacklisted. They should not have any entry in Punjab or in India. And I support that one. I was the one. And I was the one actually who was in the favor of eradicating the blacklist. But enough is enough that we have to take the strong step. The government of India
not all those who were moved off the blacklist have violated norms, but a sizable number have, and those should be identified. Sushantji, thank you for your patience. Just one quick word from Satishji. Satishji, can you identify the people who were standing on the other side and heckling devotees coming to the temple? Can you identify those people?
Okay. Actually, the people coming, there are a lot of people, we have video and everything, but the people, the community, these people were not from the temple. I know a lot of people, other Sikh community come to the temple, but we didn't recognize who the person was. But that's true, I was listening to his conversation, like Sukranji, and he showed, they did two times in Avasar Gurdwara and Rosni, as I mentioned before. The third place, the temple. But in the temple, they got the reply for that too. But the problem that, he's right. Because, people for the Sikh community should wake up and stop these guys. Because if our community is not going to wake up and stop this guy, they will keep continuing going on like that. Sure, if they have some grudges against the government of India, they should not go to the temple and Gurdwaras and they should go to the Consul General office and do whatever they want, do it, but not to our religious places.
Right. Satishji, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us and for speaking up. And I hope and pray that everybody is safe and festival passes through without any more further incidents. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Sushant Sarinji, now one of some concerns that Mr. Sukhi Chahal and Satish Goel have also raised, Satish Goelji also raised. My question to you, sir, is what can Bharat do? Should we also now look at safety and security and the kind of bandobast that we give for Canadian authorities here, officials here? One question. Second one, can we look at blacklisting and rescinding OCI cards of these people who can be identified? Stop their entry into Bharat.
Anand, I'll make 4 points. One, I think action, as Mr. Chahal is saying, it's not only on the Sikh community that action needs to be taken. I think the Hindu community also needs to start taking action. There are many people in the Hindu community who actually do business with these Khalistanis. And many of them will never even identify them, even though they are identifiable.
Okay.
Now, the fact of the matter remains that the bulk of these Khotistanis as they are called.
Khalistani, ji.
These guys, Khotistanis, that's a name given by this gentleman in London, and I think that's the right name for these fellows. The bulk of these guys can be very easily identified. They're not a very large number. But, we just heard Mr. Goyal. Is he telling us that he can't? It's a small community. Indians are not so many. He can't identify who are these people? Well, for God's sake, everybody knows who these guys are. So, and they should stop doing business with them. They should boycott them. It's the Sikh community, of course, needs to take charge, but the Hindu community cannot say that, but it's only the matter of the Sikh community. All Sikhs and Hindus, we are one family. We all come from one family. We are one stock, and these are characters. These Khotistanis are basically Pakistanis. They are living on Pakistani propaganda, and most of them become Khotistanis because they think this is their passport to getting an easy asylum or being able to settle down in Canada or the US or wherever else. I think we need to call them out. Secondly, I think Mr. Chahal makes a very good point, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand this namby-pamby policy of the government of India. Cannot the government of India identify these people? And this is a common complaint, Anand, that many Indian politicians in Canada make about what is happening inside Canada. That they say that when we raise our voices with the Canadian government and we try and put pressure on them, the Canadians turn back and tell us, but the Indian government is giving them visas. These guys are going very easily, going to Punjab, partying, marrying out there, spending holidays out there. Why isn't the Indian government doing anything about it? And why is the Indian government not doing it? It's a policy of appeasement. And why should you appease Khalistanis or Khotistanis?
Correct.
Why should you appease them?
Fair point.
It is, and I agree with what Mr. Chahal is saying. That does not mean that you lump the entire Sikh community together, but certainly you can identify these characters, you can scrap their OCI cards, you can ban them from coming into India, you can seize their properties in India. There are enormous numbers of measures that you can take. Number 3, I think, just as there are these leaks in these goddamn so-called free media of the Western media, most of them are lapdogs of their establishments, like the Financial Times and the Economist and the rest.
Right.
I think there should be proper and open statements in the Indian media also.
Right.
The fact that many of these governments in Canada and the US and the UK do not take action against these characters is because most of them are agents of their intelligence agencies.
Right.
Are used to pressurize India, they are used to badmouth India, they used to sully India's image, and they, for a certain propaganda campaign which they carry out. And final point I want to make, Anand, and I think this is very important. The reason why they go and attack Hindu temples is the same reason as why synagogues are attacked when you have a problem against Israeli policy.
Right.
But what do? You first attack the Jews, you attack the synagogues because you are lumping them together with Israel. It's the same policy with these guys, and this policy does not come from them, it comes from Islamabad and Rawalpindi. And until and unless we understand this, we realize this reality, we are never going to get to the bottom of it. So I think we need to take action against these fellows directly. We need to do whatever is within our means. We need to take action against Western governments whose intelligence agencies are pandering and whose agents these fellows are. And we need to act against the Pakistanis on this entire matter. Otherwise, let's not have these debates. And most of all, any Indian or any person from the Indian community, diaspora, who does not stand up and does not take up cudgels along with the Sikh community against these characters, do not ban their businesses, do not stop doing businesses with them. And I can tell you a whole lot of people, including people who are handling temples, who are doing business with these guys, which is why they can't identify them.
Correct.
Because
so somewhere there is a thing about who will bell the cat, and at least there are 200 people who stood up against 25, and those numbers prevailed, and it's visible. The other aspect is we have to call out this fakery, and third, some hard steps need to be taken against those elements who will not change. Then we have to do what is possible at our end also to send out a strong message. Thank you for your suggestion, Sushantji, Sukhi Chahal ji. Thank you for your time. Have to quickly move on here on the right stand. Shifting focus and closer home.